What's going on, guys? The FN Reflex here in the flesh, home from the gun shop. Finally, we found an MRD version. FN was really slow to roll these things out after announcement. These things have mostly been rolling out in the non-MRD version with the solid top of the slide. I don't even know why FN made that version at all. There's no purpose to it. It's only $50 less, and if you don't want to put a red dot on the gun, just don't put a red dot on the gun. There's no reason to have two different versions, two different tooling sets and assembly lines and stuff like that for these and the other ones. They should have just made all of these. But that being said, the couple that made it through the MRD versions were going for like $700, $800 in the last 2 months. And I was like, I am not paying that kind of premium for this thing. So I just waited patiently. These are now down to like $550 where they should be. They recently threw an influx of MRD versions into the market because Gunbroker just blew up in the last few days with dozens of these things, when at most you would see like once a week you might find one. But it looks like FN has been rushing these things out because their QC was not top-notch when it comes to this gun. And this is me coming home from my first range impressions, and I was not totally impressed with the Reflex on my first outing. So my very first mag through the gun, I shoot 15 rounds, and they are all hitting low left. And that's kind of a meme. In my original Reflex video, I had people comment on the gun and they were like, oh, I just got my Reflex and it's shooting low left. And among firearms instructors like myself, that's just kind of funny because usually if you're a right-hand shooter, you will pull and you will flinch and push on the trigger and you will go low left. So your shots, if you are having a lot of shot anticipation, will go low left. And so whenever someone says a gun shoots low left, it's just kind of funny. This, however, was shooting low left. And I was like, wait, there is no way I'm that bad of a shooter. All 15 rounds, all low left. And so I slowed it down, put a few more rounds in the magazine, and I shot an 8-yard grouping. All 3 shots were in the same hole, low left. So I was pretty discouraged by the Reflex right away. So I called FN and I asked them if they had any influx of Reflexes that were shooting low left. And the guy said yes, they got a bunch in, but when they took a look at it, they didn't see anything wrong with the gun. And I was like, well, that's interesting because I shot 3 rounds, same hole. And usually if you can shoot 3 rounds in the same hole, it's not necessarily you making a consistent error like that. Usually if you're making an error, your error is going to be variable, and that's how you can adjust. So, but what he did say was that the gun has a combat hold. It's sighted in for a combat hold. Now, what that means if you are new is when you look at the sights, you're supposed to line up the back 2 sights around the front sight. The front sight's supposed to be directly in the middle with equal height and equal light on each side. So it'd be just like that. Now, if you have a combat hold, the bullet will hit directly behind that orange dot when the sights are aligned. So yes, you actually have to obscure your target with the sights. That is a combat hold. You also have 6 o'clock holds where if you hold your sights in alignment, the bullet will hit right above the front sight. And then there are center holds where if you hold the sights aligned, the bullet will hit intersecting the top line, the top horizontal line of your front sight. Both of those are better holds because you can actually see your target. So that being said, I actually went back to the range to doubly confirm that this thing was shooting off. And the range actually gave me one of their range guns. It happened to be a like 10, 12, whatever year old Gen 3 Glock 19. And I will show you the groupings that we got. These are two 10-round groups out of these two guns. So this is the Glock 19. Never shot it before. I haven't shot a Glock in forever because I hate them. But this is the Glock 19, about 8 yards away, 10-shot group. Pretty well centered, right around the bullseye. I got a couple up here, but not too far. It's only about an inch away. Here is our Reflex. So this is with a combat hold. The problem with a combat hold is you can't see the dot of your bullseye because you have to actually obscure it with the sight. So in general, you're not going to shoot as accurately with a combat hold, but you can see that it's significantly up and to the left. So my combat hold might have been a little bit more too aggressive on this one. But then I was like, okay, I'm going to shoot one more 10-round group through each gun. And this is what I got. Glock 19, second mag I've ever shot through this thing. And Glocks have the worst triggers ever. I did throw one shot. That is completely me. These are clearly fantastic shots. We have 8 rounds right here. And then 2 a little bit high. But if anything, I am shooting high when I mess up and not low. And then we have the Reflex second mag. Still all shooting far left. So I was like, okay, something's up. I actually had to get a measurement tool because this was not easy to eyeball. But I had the rear sight drifted like 2 millimeters. You can actually see the mark where it was. It was like right there. So that's where the sight was. And I actually hammered it with a punch a couple times and tried to center it myself. So we have about like 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters of drift that I had to account for. And then the front sight, it kind of looks centered to me. It might be a little bit off, but such a small gun with even 2 millimeters off on the rear sight, we are hitting 1.5 to 2 inches to the left, just at 7 yards. And then my 8-yard target, 9-yard target, even more. So as you get further and further out, this small misalignment of holding the gun just a little bit to the left will make a really big difference when your sight radius is so small. So that is an actual problem that's going on with your FN. You might have the same issue. If you do find yourself shooting to the left and low left, it's because they want you to have a combat hold and they want you to obscure the target with your sights, and they may have not checked for alignment on your particular gun like mine. So it is what it is. Never fully trust your guns when it comes to a new gun. This also had numerous malfunctions throughout my first 100 rounds. I probably had about 5 failures to feed, and the round would get stuck nose up and I'd have to slap it forward and then it would keep chugging along. But 5 failures to feed and a sight misalignment, this does not bode well for my confidence in the FN Reflex. Some of these guns do require a break-in period, and I hate that terminology. Most guns that I purchase, especially when it comes to a quality gun like FN, you should not have a break-in period on your gun. But I mean, I put 100 rounds through it. I did drift the sights. I will go back to the range. I'll put another 100 rounds through it, 150 rounds through it. I'm going to see if these 2 millimeters was enough to shove my grouping over a couple inches over here. That would be ideal. But I don't like the fact that these are combat sighted iron sights. I would prefer to change these out for something that hits more like 6 o'clock or even a center hold if I have to, but I'm not a fan of that. I don't want to put a dot on this gun. I want the option to, but I don't want to put a dot on it right now because I throw it in my jeans pocket. Is my ideal scenario for this. Going out to a fancy restaurant or something like that, I want 12 rounds of 9mm, but I don't have the luxury of having a full holster on me and carrying my PDP or Steyr M9A2, you know, so that's what this gun fulfills for me. So hopefully I can get these iron sights ironed out on FN's behalf. And yeah, so that's my first impressions on the FN Reflex. Be wary if you buy one of these. Make sure you check your sight alignment, make sure that everything is good to go, and make sure that you put a couple hundred rounds through this so you can get any teething issues on a break-in period out of the way. I will come back with a further review once I get a few hundred rounds through this and get the sights all squared away. Alright, catch you later, guys. Good luck if you have a Reflex. See ya.